Good evening, everyone. Ellen Sutter of ESP Presents and ESP Book Chats, where we bring page turners your way. Good to see you guys out there. Just a moment. Let's see. Yep. Good to see you out there. I see I'm kind of down. Sorry about that, guys. Tonight we have our guest, and it's always a pleasure to have her here, author Dr. Velma Bagby. And we're going to talk about her book, My 70's Love Story, 50 years plus, or 50 years later, plus later. Wow. Dr. Velma, come on out. I don't know as many people that can say that now and still yet be in love. Yes. I'm excited about this. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me
Wonderful.
okay?
I thought I had lost you for a moment.
Oh,
Yep.
no.
Yep. I hear you well. I hear you well. Dr. Velma. It is always a pleasure to have you back, and you're talking about your love, your my 70's love story, and you say 50 plus years later. Tell us about yourself, why you penned this book, and there's another um, caveat, if you will, and
Yeah.
what makes a marriage work from your point of view.
Well, basically, I just remember the years of writing on the subject and making the decision with my husband in agreement and standing by my side as I wrote what we were going to include. And he was a part of the decision making process. And the fact that we were just watching for decades, people not understanding what real love is truly and what it takes to build a lasting love with an individual. And so the idea of love over time has gotten misconstrued, misinterpreted, minimized with a worldly definition that doesn't work and that doesn't last. The standards are shaky, and so we just kind of watched many people lose what we were exposed to and what we were taught. And we just felt it was time. And we were tired of kind of the putting on a show as a couple in front of everybody. And then you go home and they're enemies to each other. So you don't know what's happening behind. So we wanted to just pull back the curtain and let people see what real life looks like when you're fighting and choosing each other every day, because that's what God calls us to do, as if we're perfect people, and we're not. And so that's really why we decided it was time, because of what we had witnessed and seen.
Awesome, Dr. Velma. I don't know. I'm getting some glitches, and I hope
You
that
are.
you're doing good. I'm getting some glitches here and there, but
Uh-huh.
I hope in replay that we don't have those glitches. I kind of heard some of them, and I don't know. We have no control over
The internet.
the internet or what happens at this point. And so I really enjoy what you said and what I've
Hmm.
heard so far. Dr.
Yes.
Velmer, there are so I'm married. We're both married. I've been married 34 years. Really
Hmm.
do enjoy it. 50 plus for you guys. Yay, yay, yay. Really enjoy it. And I just want to say this right here before we get into other things. Um, I want to just reach back to one of those questions. What is marriage not? Because we get this picket wife is he's supposed to fan her here and there. He's supposed to keep her happy. What is marriage not?
You just described some of the things that it is not. It is not a man's job to come in and make you happy if you're not happy already. Some of those things you need to build and grow into before you take on a spouse. It is not what you think it should be. He should come in and have a certain standard where he's riding in on a white horse, ready to charge in and fight everybody and take you under his wing. And this is not Cinderella, and you, neither are you. This is not a fantasy. And so we have this misconception about what it should look like, and it's not. And even I talk about the fact that we were instructed at 16 to write our husband to be prayer list. This was not a list that you use to judge him on as you meet men. See if he meets the list, and if he doesn't, then you just discount him. That's crazy stuff. This list was about us talking to God about who God had for us And these are the things that we're hoping he has, but God knows who that person should be and what it should look like and how he should act and what would be the best match for you. God already knows those things. So it was just us believing that he existed and that we were praying and asking God to do it. But no, we come up with this list these days, and if
Mhm.
that man doesn't meet the list, you kick him to the curb as if he failed a test or something, and that's not fair. And I found that even when you make the list, can you meet it? And many of the women
Ooh.
can't even meet the list they create for the man. So why would you do something like that? And it's pretty crazy because what that means is you discount people who are great opportunities for you, could likely be your mate, and you didn't accept him. And that speaks to your own brokenness. That speaks to you trying to fill a void that he cannot fill because those voids in your life should already be filled. You should
Mm.
already be satisfied. You should already be solid. You should already know that God has you and has your back. You should already have that level of faith. You should already know how to pray. All of those things that you want him to be and do, you should already know how to do that. And that's what I think, Miss Ellen, is we just have taken it and forgotten what it looks like. And we haven't passed on many of the
Mm.
cases, the wisdom that the new generations really need right now because they are making some really wild mistakes. I see it all over the place. And
That
look,
is
this is not 90-Day Fiance either. That doesn't what God didn't call you no 90-Day Fiance.
wow. You hitting a lot of stuff on the streets that I hadn't heard that. I'm shocked to hear that. And
Right.
so, yeah, so the thing, like you said, when you talked about a list, Dr. Velma, I never had a list,
Hmm.
and I never had, I didn't want anything to compare to. My goal of a man, or should I say, my idea was my father. He was a very loving father, 8 daughters, and he loved us perfectly.
Then
Okay.
you had a script.
Yeah,
You had
yeah.
something to measure him
I
by.
had something, and
Yes, you
yes,
do. You knew what it looked like
I knew what it looked
already.
like, but I didn't make the
Hmm.
list. But if I were to
Hmm.
make a list, I would always say that my husband, tall, dark, and handsome. And he's
But
six
that's my
three.
point.
And that was the only thing. There was nothing else on that list, but I knew I liked tall
Girl,
men
let me tell you the
because my
crazy
husband
thing I
is
had on
tall.
mine on the top. Bold legs and 6 feet.
Oh my goodness.
Now, that was a high school mentality right there because we was
Mm.
all basketball players. We had one of the prominent teams in the high school in our area. And then, Denzel Washington, bow legs was kind of famous back then.
So
And
true.
so that has not, now he didn't have bow legs. So what would it look like if this list is what I wanted to use to make my choice?
Yeah.
And he walked into my life. Well, he's not the one. The legs are not bowed. His feet are slewed. He's got slewed feet, Miss Ellen. So he would not have passed the mustard. And that's the part. The list is not for you to use to make a choice. I say prayer list because that's what it was. It wasn't a list for him to match. It was my
Wow.
prayer that God will help him to have these things. And that's the difference from the list that many women make today. They make a list that they expecting that man to meet. And then they have
Mm.
a will not accept list. If he doesn't have this, we will not accept it. But do you have it?
I like
You
when you
want him to
said
make
that.
money, but are you making money?
Mm.
And if you are, those are things that are fleeting. It changes throughout your life.
And Dr. Velma, just another thing on that is the list that we make, or the things about that we
Hmm.
figured that we wanted. Is that going to make the man? Him having
No,
money, him being
stop.
tall, dark, and handsome.
Turn the list over to God. It's a prayer list.
I thought you was
Stop.
going to say turn the list over and throw it away.
Turn
That's
it over. It says prayer. Mine was prayer list,
yeah,
not this is what the husband has to have. No. Who are you? Last time I
right.
looked, according to Jeremiah 1, 4 and 5, I believe it is, God knew you before he formed you in your mother's womb, and he knew the plan
Yes,
that he had for your
yes.
life. He knows the perfect person that's perfect for you. The question is, if he hasn't shown up, could it be that you're not even ready yet?
That's another
He's
thing, Dr.
praying
Velma.
too. He's asking God too. And why would God shortchange him to send you into his life and you're not ready? And so we have to really pay attention to those. These are the things we don't. talk about and we don't understand has to happen.
That is so true, Dr. Velma. I'm going to reset real quick and we're going to get back
Uh-huh.
into there. You'll see me looking down every now and then. I'm looking at my
That's
phone and I
okay.
see that there's one person there. Thank you for being out there. Do swipe and share. We have Dr. Velma here and we're talking about her 70s love story, 50 years plus later. I keep putting the years before that, but 50 years later. And then it's 52 now, right, Dr. Velma?
Yes, it is. It's 52
Okay,
now.
it's 52. And so we get in, we're going to get, today we're going to talk, the book is so meaty. We're going to
Hmm.
talk about the introduction part, and there are some things you said when you guys got together. I got some notes here that in the beginning you talked about the writing the book. You started out, you had a deadline, and
Yes.
then God showed you some or remind you
Ooh,
that there's something else that need to be in that book. And you mentioned that you put a pause on it and you forgot to pray and ask God about this. And you said everything is in control. We think that we are in control, but God is in control of
yes.
everything in
Yes.
our steps. Let's talk about that. What you started off, had a deadline, didn't fulfill that deadline at the time, and then, oh my goodness, there was much more to be into the book.
25,000 words. And God said, that's not the book.
Mm,
I had to scrap it completely. The content that he wanted included. That was it. I was going by the years. Oh, first 5 years, first 10 years. Going by. He said, no. And I had to tell my publicist, look, I'm not going to have a deadline because I have to start over. This was inspired by God. I didn't take the time to ask him for direction, which is usually what I try to do.
mhm,
Proverbs 3 and 6, and all thy ways acknowledge him, which means invite him in. I didn't do that. I was so busy getting ready for the anniversary, getting ready for the release of the book, getting ready, and didn't pause to say, God, is this what you want? And God stepped in and said, that's not the book. So I had to scrap the 25,000 words and start over, Miss Ellen. And I
mm,
started over with the idea that I was going to make sure God was leading me with the content and what I was to include. And of course, my husband, like I said, he was by my side, actually standing over this chair. Yeah, include that. Yes, that we should include some of this too. He was there as well. And so I made sure, God, is this what you want? God, is this what and he said, yes. I made
mm,
sure that the middle was the juiciest part.
mhm,
When I
mhm,
was looking at anthologies, not anthologies, looking at memoirs and what's the best way to lay them out, the way I was trying to lay it out, year 5, year 10. No, it said you want to make sure the critical part is in the middle. And
mm,
everybody had already heard our beginning. So I had to include that. That was the beginning of the book for those who did not hear. But the juiciest part and the meatiest part was the middle of the book. And of course, the conclusion is a celebration because we're retired, we're enjoying our golden years, all of that. But the meaty part, girl, I had to talk about the struggles. I had to talk about how the bankruptcy tried to break us. I had to talk about we had to move out so God could move in when we had a temporary separation. We didn't know if it was permanent or not. I just know in the moment God told me I needed to move out because that was the only way he could reach my husband and talk to him about what he needed to do. And then I was by myself. He could talk to me and tell me what I needed to do. And that's what helped us to come back together and realize when he told me to. I think I had moved out for 6 months. My oldest
mm,
daughter was going off to college, to Howard. So I flew her down there by herself. My youngest daughter and I, she was 5, and we were in our apartment by herself. My husband was still back at the house, and I made a commitment. I wasn't touching the money that we had combined in the bank account. I made sure that it was a fair thing. And when I got ready to move, he saw the boxes slowly moving up against the wall when I announced to him that I was moving out. And that's what happened. So I don't
mhm.
wanna go into more details because I know you're gonna
Exactly.
talk about it more, but I'm just saying that it was important for people to see and hear what real life looks like because you have to choose each other every day.
Okay. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but you're frozen. Can you hear me okay? Hello. Helen? Ellen, you still there?
Dr. Velma?
Yeah, I can hear you. You were
Yeah.
frozen for a minute.
Oh, yeah, I was trying to wonder and I was seeing it. I don't know what's going on. It throws me out. Sometimes I don't know. And I don't know what to do about that.
And we're gonna keep on going.
And
That's what
amen. And
mm,
amen.
mm,
Dr. Velma, you talked about you had the way you were structuring your book or putting it together. You was
yes,
focusing on one thing, and then and then you had to uh, detour back into what God wanted. You
yeah,
mentioned you mentioned in there, and like I said, these are a glimpse for those who are looking on. We don't want to give the
yeah,
whole story away,
right.
but you talked about having a choice to forgive
Yeah.
and to extend grace before it was earned.
Uh-huh.
Let's talk
Because
about those two things.
yes, but well, let's talk about what grace really is what we
Yes,
receive. And it's interesting how we receive it, but we don't want to give it.
exactly.
Grace is unmerited favor, which means that God gave us something we did not deserve. It's a gift. He lovingly wanted us to have it. And yet we have the nerve to not
Hmm.
extend that same kind of grace to each other.
So true.
Same methodology. Give you something you don't deserve, but in that moment, I'm going to show you some grace. That's what we're supposed to show each other. And so it's not always about you nitpicking and getting down on somebody who fell short because we fell short of salvation a long time ago. And
That's so
yet
true.
we still have it because it was a gift. And that's what grace is to give grace, is to show love and to make sure that we give them something they didn't deserve. And there are many moments, well, whether they apologize or not, that's not what he said. We didn't get to apologize. We were just extended grace. We were given that gift. The
That is so
mistakes were
true.
erased.
Dr. Velma, that is so true. As we pick these, like I would call them fish bones, because you can bite and don't know where the bones
There you
at,
go.
and especially being married. I know sometimes you're not going to like each other. You'll love each other, but sometimes you don't like, and it's okay. If you would, uh, in your own point of view, it's okay to not like somebody. That sometimes it's okay. And if you say, "Hey, go do this, go do that," and you don't feel like, it's okay to say, "I don't feel like doing
Yeah. Yeah, you're human.
it." It's okay. So there's a lot of times, like I say, transparency of being in a marriage. It's not, as we spoke earlier, unto happiness, is unto holiness. And it's
Absolutely.
God designed purpose for marriage for symbolic of, Christ.
Christ and his sacrifice for the church.
Yeah. So you get into a marriage, the glimpse of things, like you say, there's you mentioned here about the balance sheet. And
Hmm.
some things were cautionary.
Yes.
Yeah. So when I looked at that, I said, wow, Dr. Velma is telling it like it is, and
Hmm.
the choice to invest in each other. Let's talk about those things. Bella sheets are cautionary, the choice to invest.
Of course. I remember some difficult times and going to my aunt, and that's the other thing I always encourage people to have is a wise counsel because you need people around you who's been there, done that. I'm not talking about your friends been married 2 years and the ones who are still single. They can't advise you about anything because they're
Mm-mm.
not in a relationship. But someone who's been in it long term, like my aunt has, I always surrounded myself with older people who could tell me something. People my age, they couldn't tell me anything because they haven't done nothing. And so I wanted to go to the people who knew what they were talking about. And I remember thinking it had gotten so bad that we couldn't resolve something that we were facing and we couldn't come to a decision. So I asked my aunt, I said, Aunt Marie, I said, I don't know if this thing is just done, if it's over. She said, baby, all slow, baby.
Mm.
What are you going to do when you take all that time you've invested in this man? Just hand it over to somebody else? Ellen, you should have seen my face when she said those words.
Out there
To
on the
me,
street for the cleanup woman.
ooh, Mabel on the other side of the fence is waiting for what you have done in the life of this man.
Yeah.
Because in your marriage, you've impacted his life. You've
Yeah.
changed him just as he's
Mm-hmm.
made some changes in you. And
Exactly.
so he takes all of those benefits, like putting money in the bank,
Mm-hmm.
and then you tell somebody else, oh, here you go. You can just cash it out. I was
Mm.
not having it when she said those words. I was like, no, no one's getting what I've invested in.
Mm.
No one.
What year was that, Dr. Velma? What year
I
into the
think
marriage
we
was this?
were 20 years in.
Oh,
Yes, yes, 20 years
wow.
in. See,
Wow.
people be talking about the 5 year itch, the
7 year
7 years,
itch.
making the 7 years. You no. You come back
Yeah.
and talk to me when you get some years and then tell me the things that came because the bottom line when you and I were talking about grace, the reason we have to do that, because we made the commitment with God present, He's
Yes.
present in the marriage every day.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm very careful. My husband is very careful with how I choose to handle the things that happen between us
Mm-hmm.
because God is right there too.
That
And
is so
so
true.
if you want to know who's watching, who's doing the tally, who's looking at the balance sheet, who's watching what you do right and do because he'll point it out to you.
He will.
I had a situation where my husband and I couldn't come to a conclusion, a consensus, and we know that the word says, "Don't let the sun go down upon your wrath." So we always made sure we resolved. If we couldn't come to a conclusion, we'd say, "Okay, let's just table this till tomorrow," blah blah blah, so we can rest, go to bed in peace. Well, that this particular time, I decided, God, I just forgive him for how this conversation just went left. I'm just not gonna take it against him, make do anything crazy. I said, just forgive him, Lord, forgive me, and just help us to resolve it. But I didn't tell my husband I said all of that. So that night, he get in bed, I get in bed
Your perforated side.
over on my side, quiet, didn't say a word. But I think I'm at peace because I resolved it with God. My husband says, didn't God say, don't let the sun go down? And you know what? With God right there, He will show you
Yes, he will.
who you are in that moment. And I hopped out of bed and said, man, really? This is what you're gonna do, God? This is the way you're gonna teach me.
It's so true. He will let you know. He will let. I remember one time I was praying. We were praying together, and I don't remember what I said, but when I prayed, and after I got through with the prayer, he said, "Why did you say that in the prayer?"
Yes. Yes.
Do you
Yes.
know that you can fight with your prayer? Like you know how to say that somebody told you to pray for them, and you really telling their business. So that was
Right.
like telling the business without even getting it together. And he
Yep.
said, "Why did you
That's right.
say that in
When
that
he
prayer?"
already when God already knows. So let's just make that clear. You're not in it by yourself.
Oh
And
my goodness!
because you invited God in and because God chose this person for you, he's invested too. And so yes,
Yes.
he's gonna call you out. He's gonna expose you if you don't do what you know you should do. Like that moment, I'm going, really? I told my husband I had already forgiven you. I had already blah blah blah. I had to confess us. I said, but you know what? I was trying to keep it to myself.
I know, I know. He'll let me know. He will let you know. And they
Yes.
not ready. They not ready for marriage. They not.
There's so many people who are not.
They're
They
not.
like the idea of it.
The idea of it, the wedding
And they
gowns.
love falling in love with strangers. They don't even know the people.
I like what you said, Dr. Velma. You said God is writing your story. Stop trying to steal the pen.
Right,
Let's talk
right.
about that.
That's the bottom line. We forget that. that scripture I gave you earlier in Jeremiah chapter 1. We forget. He already knows. He already knows you. He already knows the plan he has for you. He already knows the man and the impact that that husband will have in your life and the impact that you will have in his. He already knows those things. That's why he is the one that makes that decision and helps us to discover who that person is. Because you should compliment that person just as he compliments you. And so because God already knows, why are you trying to write your own story? Why you so what you're professional? So what you made money? So what? I made more money than my husband when we first got married. I was already in state government. He got laid off I think it was 2 weeks before we got married. Does that mean he broke my requirements? He didn't meet the list because he now doesn't have a job. What it did is it gave me an opportunity to see him hustle after we got married. And he
Mm-hmm.
got a job within 2 weeks after we got married. And
Wow.
he was committed to making sure he made more than me. In 5 years, he left me in his dust, and I never saw that amount that he was making for the rest of our marriage. So who cares? We made a commitment that every dime that came in the house came into one pot that we both own. Who cares who gave what? And so
That's so
you
true.
just throw in all of these little things that doesn't make sense. Somebody told you to do it, but it's wrong. If you got to bring yourselves together and operate as one, what do you think that means? There is
Yeah.
no separation in what we bring in and what we do and how much we make. And what if I get to the place where I couldn't work at all and
Mm-hmm.
the burden was on my husband? He would have been
Wow.
happily ready to take it on and take on another job if he had to. So you got to be very careful what how you express your love to your spouse because that is what you want to take into consideration. Times can change and things can flip any one of those things you
Yes.
thought you wanted to have.
Mm. So true. This is why I was telling you a little bit early. Can you hear me, Dr. Velma?
Uh-huh.
And this is one that, listen, Linda, she wrote in there, and I thought this was very impactful, and it really got to me. She said, "True covenant love is not polished in perfection, shaped
Mm.
through shaped through um,
Perseverance.
that's
Perseverance. Hmm.
perseverance. I'm trying to read my handwriting. Shaped through
That's okay.
perseverance, refined through the fire, and
Hmm.
sustained by faith.
That's it.
Yes, long after wedding fades into memory."
Yeah.
I
That's the
love
glue.
that. I said,
That's
"This
the
girl is
glue.
married." I said, "This girl is married for real."
Mm.
I
She
said,
she
"This."
been she's been mentored by Pastor Bruce and I. She loves it. 'Cause she said, "No, I appreciate how you and Pastor Bruce are helping us."
I'm telling you, that is beautiful because
Yes,
it's that when you get that and you break that all down,
yes,
people are
ma'am.
looking at the snapshots. Remember back in the day, they used to say relationship goals. You don't hear that anymore. It was only
No,
pictures. There were only
no,
pictures, but those real things behind those pictures is what happened to make that smile. Dr.
no.
Velma, I'm sure you read it in your book when she said that true covenant love is not polished uh, in perfection. Let's talk about that. If we're looking for that, I think we need to just drop that one right
Be a
now.
true student. I really love the fact that when you can encourage and inspire other young couples, that when you see this kind of wisdom come out of their mouth, you're like, "Mm, she gets it. She gets it. She's doing well,
Yes,
God. Doing." First of all, who says covenant today? You
nobody
haven't
says
heard
that.
that word out to come out of young
Mm-mm.
people's mouth. They have no
No,
clue what a covenant is.
no.
First of all, if you have a relationship with God, at some point you should understand that word.
Mm-hmm.
And so, covenant love. I've heard somebody that gave up on their marriage because something happened and I didn't sign up for this. I'm going, wait a minute. What do you think covenant love is?
Mm-hmm.
You didn't sign up
Mm-hmm.
for it. You committed to God what you wanted to do. That was my alarm to make sure I was online with with you, but it's
I
late.
I didn't even hear it. I didn't hear it.
But that's what it is. It says it's not polished in perfection. We are not perfect people. So stop trying to expect this guy or you to be that. And
Mhm.
again, if you're going to create these standards that you're expecting him to have or these qualities, make sure you have them too.
That's so true.
And
That's
shape through perseverance. You got to
uh-huh.
be able to endure what's going to come up against you because as a married couple, we inherited an enemy the minute we said I do. Because God
That's true.
says, okay, I want you to operate in unity and agreement. And
Mhm.
who's the one who hates unity and agreement? The enemy himself. He hates
Mhm.
it. So you
Mhm.
already inherited an enemy. So you better make sure that you know who's coming up against you. It is not you or your husband. It's not me. In my relationship, you got to know who that other thing is that will come in and stirs things up because we can have a perfect day and all of a sudden it goes off track and my husband and I will
So true.
wait a minute, let's just examine what just happened, what's going
Mhm.
on here. We figure we're not enemies to each other, so what happened in this moment? And we figure out who did it
That's so
and
true.
we know how to rise above it. So making sure you persevere, refine through the fire. I know that God is the refiner and he's
Mhm.
the one that orders the fire. And usually he does it when he has something planned for us on the other side of it.
So true.
And so therefore something in us he can't use. So he has to burn off what he cannot
Mhm.
use. Just
Mhm.
like you burn off the dross and the dirt off a piece of gold in order to get it ready for the jewelry shop. You got to get it correct. Get the stuff off of it. And so does God when he has more to do. I remember that the most difficult time of our lives happened way before we planted a church. But I realized the fire was necessary because God was getting us ready.
Mhm.
Because it's a challenge to really be a supporter of each other when your husband is called to pastor a church, a group of people. You got to really have it together. And our period of fire happened before that moment when my husband said, I believe God wants me to plant a church. Then I knew why we had gone through the fire. God was
Mhm.
getting us ready for that. And so you have to understand the fire has a purpose. And because God is the
Mm.
refiner, He's the one that orders those fires. And you got to look at it and say, okay, God, get us through this. And there are moments, even Miss Ellen, I've said, God, really, you think highly of me to have me go through something like that. God, really? You really want me? Help me make it because I know you got something on the other side because this ain't easy, God.
It's so
And
true.
so,
And Dr. Velma, the most powerful thing we can do as a wife is to pray. You
yes,
may not
ma'am.
think that it doesn't happen, but it does. And there's things like had several talks with you before when something
Mhm.
happened, and then let's say we call it intense fellowship. Did not
Yes,
coin it when you're having some things going on, intense
yes,
fellowship, and so maybe might, and to be honest, maybe not then you didn't resolve it, but then you thought you just had a little forgive me that you wear like a garment because you have to,
right,
but walking away from it and you get to go and us women, I'm not going to say all, but I think we
right,
most do,
right.
is that we want that closure on that conversation because
Yes,
if you come home and you want me to make you something, are we talking? I say that sometimes. I really do. I say,
right,
are we talking? Are we
right,
good? And we always say
right.
to each other, are we good? Are we talking? And
Yeah,
so in the trip alone to work and I'm at home and just get to praying, Lord, you see what happened. You see what your son did. See what I did. And
that's
then
right.
even I'll sometimes get a phone call, say, hey, babe, that was a little rough. That I said, I'm sorry. End of
Mhm.
story.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's through
Don't say
prayer.
that.
That's
You don't
through prayer, Dr.
absolutely.
Velma. That
And
is through prayer.
what I was saying, I want people to be clear. Look, all prayer is not Heavenly Father, please come and I just want to come before you. No, what I just said to you is me talking to God is prayer.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking to God and being honest with him. God, really? This is what you want from me? That's me in my prayer. So I
Mm-hmm.
want you to be clear that prayer is not always Heavenly Father, please come and blah blah blah. No, sometimes prayer is us talking to him,
Yes.
expressing
Yes.
what we feel in that moment. That's
Mm-hmm.
praying too. And that's
Mm-hmm.
important. Something else you said is my husband does that regularly. Are you okay? You need anything? Every day, all day.
Mm-hmm.
Can I help
Mm-hmm.
you with that? Or he'll see me doing something, he'll come behind me and start working on helping me with whatever I'm doing. And
Mm-hmm.
so I really appreciate that check in.
That's so
That says
true.
a lot. Love comes in different, and they talk about love languages. You can call it whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
As long as he's expressing and I'm expressing love to him, we're going to be okay.
That's
Because
so true.
sometimes very simple ways to just let them know, I love you. I hope your day was okay. Because you come
Mm-hmm.
home and the food is ready and it's hot, and people ask me, well, why do we have to cook? A young person.
Mm-hmm.
I said, you don't cook. Bertha gonna cook for him.
So true.
Because
So
she'll
true.
she'll hand him a meal when you don't. So be very careful. I'd rather him eat what I have because cooking is a love language too. It is
It
me
is.
making sure he gets what he likes, that he gets what's healthy for him, that he
Mm-hmm.
gets something that he deserves after working so hard all day. Because I retired before my husband. My husband retired 10 years after I retired.
Wow.
I was home. And so why would I? And then when I was working, the crock pots and everything was helping me to get things done while I was at work. And sometimes my husband would get home before me and he would finish it up. Who cares who does what? It's part of our love language to each other.
It's so
And that's
true.
important.
Dr.
Don't
Velma, I was thinking about
sacrifice.
that is so true. I was thinking about our role, and
Mhm.
some people may not look at it as a role that, being a helpmate.
Yeah,
And being a helpmate, I mean, like, this is his son, we are his daughter. And whether people believe it or not, you are a helper to your husband. And some
yeah.
people may not want to be that. I mean, it should be a guy that has a plan. You shouldn't be making his plan. This man should already have his plan, and you're helping him, get to that plan, helping him make sure he stays with God. I told my husband, Dr. Velma, you there? I told my husband, um, he had a little health scare, and you and I talked about it before, and we're doing meal prep and different things like
Uh-huh.
that. And before that, he might get me if he heard this. Before that, I don't know. He probably knew he was going through this health scare, and I didn't know. But I told him, I said, "Babe," I said, I want a man that goes to church. If you ain't going to church, you need to go to church. My man is supposed to go to church. He's supposed to be there for God. He told the kids, "Mama say she want a man going to church." Yeah, I want you to be there for God, pray on your time and different things like that. I don't want them to be away from God. It's so important in the marriage, and we talked about that, and that's what I wanted to talk about as far as one of those other questions, Dr. Bellman, which
Yeah,
segued
let
me
me
to it.
break down the title because people misunderstand what help me really means.
Yes.
In the original language, it comes from the word or phrase "ezer connecta." And so what that means is it's not implying that we're a subordinate assistant to our
Come on now,
husbands.
sir. Come on, Dr.
It
Bellman.
says that we are powerful, equal counterparts to
Mm-hmm.
them, not subservient to him. What we bring to the table matters to him.
Mm-hmm.
There are certain things my husband would not have been able to accomplish had I not inspired him and encouraged him. I remember he started out in his career working on buses as a mechanic. And do you know those parts to those buses back then were huge? I was
Mm.
telling my husband, as you get older, there's going to come a time when you're not going to want to lift those heavy tools. So please start thinking about what your next step would be. And
Mm-hmm.
sure enough, he eventually did. Took the supervisor's exam, and my husband retired as a supervisor, close to 15 years as a supervisor, managing supervisor of one of the maintenance sections for the bus company in our area. And so he was able to advance and do well because he began to think about that. So we do have a part in helping and encouraging one another. And
Mm-hmm.
so Ezor means rescuer. It means savior or strength. That's who we are to them. So when you look at help me, the word Ezer means rescuer, savior, or strength. And Kenegdu means corresponding to or opposite to face with. It describes two things that match, that complements, stands equal to him. That's what a
Mm.
helpmate is. When we break it down in the original language, you're much more powerful because remember, God took God fashioned Adam. remember?
Mm-hmm.
But put him to sleep. He he fashioned him out of the dust of the ground, but put him to sleep and took a bone from him and created Eve. We weren't asleep.
That's true.
Come on now. Come on,
That's true.
powerful counterpart.
Come
You
on now.
sleep. Come on, rescuer,
And
the
we didn't
one
come
who
from that
had
dirt
strength.
either.
And
We
no,
didn't.
we were not. So pay attention to how we were created differently
Yes.
and why God did it that way. It's important for you to know who you are, and what you
Mm-hmm.
bring to Him
Mm-hmm.
means a lot and
That is so
complements
true.
His life
That
in
is
such
true.
a powerful way.
Dr. Velma, we got two more things before we go.
Okay.
Act right, internet, act right. So, what are the benefits of being married biblically? What are those benefits? God's way.
Sorry, I've been fighting the allergy ever since we got on this call. We have
Something
to
always
understand.
happens to us when we get together.
Now we just have such a good time. We just have to understand that we said many of the things that are the benefits in the beginning. One benefit is you're not in it by yourself.
Mm-hmm.
God will help us. Just like
Yes, He
we
does.
pointed out, God is there to help us do what He's expecting of us as a couple. People of the world are watching us. We're supposed to be marriage that God designed is supposed to be a picture of Christ and the church. And boy, there's some poor examples out there.
Yes.
Your job is to make sure you be the best example you can be, and then to ensure that we can help others who may not know what you have learned, that you can pour in. We're the Titus 2 women to pour into those who don't know the wisdom that we've gained. So I think that what the key is that we're not in it by ourselves. It's a threefold cord, not two,
Mm-hmm.
which
Mm-hmm.
makes it stronger.
Yeah, this might sound rhetorical, our last question, and this has been great. It's already almost 8 o'clock. Wow. And so this last one, why is it so important? And like you say, we always talk about who is your audience. You
Yeah.
know, this is for everybody, but the
Yes.
audience that you have, you're talking about believers. And so why is it so important for us to keep the Lord in our marriage, not just go up to the altar, walk down, and then go home when the lights are dim and put God to the side?
When you think nobody's looking and God is still watching, it's
Yes.
important because God says to do it. He says that the threefold cord is important. He made that decision. He said it. He said the two should become one. He said, but not just the two becoming one. God needs to be in the midst of it, and He should be part of the decision making when you made the decision regarding if this person really is truly the one that God wants you to marry. A lot of people are marrying the wrong people. A lot of people are skipping friendships and just marrying them based on what you see. So you're marrying strangers and putting yourself in danger. It's important for us to establish ourselves as friends. Old school dating, that was what, and you can call it old school if you want, but it worked very well. We didn't
Did.
have all the technology that they have today, which forced us to have face to face conversations and telephone conversations so you can
Yes.
get to know who this person is. So
Mm-hmm.
we established friendships first to make sure that we knew this person. Once coming to know who they are, then you can find out what qualities they have that makes you appreciate them being a part of your life. So marriage is important, but God has to be a part of it no matter what. If
So
he's not,
true.
I wouldn't call it a marriage.
They go get you. Did you feel that? Did you feel that tomato go
Yeah,
past your
it's an
ears?
arrangement. It's not the definition of what God calls a marriage because he wasn't in it. He'll
So
be like that
true.
book that I thought I was going to do on my own. And he said to scrap it and start over. So you better be careful what you're doing with what he ordained. We
So true.
write books and things of that nature, and we can record saying we're the ownership of the content. God was the one that established the marriage union, the one that's true marriage. And therefore, he's the ownership of it and tells us and gives us direction as to how we have to move into it.
So
Everything
true.
else, y'all just making it up, and I can't really call it the definition of a biblical marriage.
It's
It's
always something.
arrangements out there. You can get a lot of
Always
arrangements.
something. It's always something with you direct that you
Ain't no
tell us.
three-fold cord out there, girl. There's some zigzags.
See, you always put us right on the hot seat. You post some love on us, and we on that hot seat. Always something to keep us focused. Dr. Velma, this has been great. And then we haven't even started with chapter one. Next week, you guys will hear some bits and pieces of chapter one, and our final day will be chapter three. Dr. Velma, this has been great. And this is only just the introduction, and
Aw,
it has been meaty. And I'm looking forward to our other chat. Dr. Val, tell them where they can reach you. If you have another snippet of a takeaway, do that. And those who are watching, whether you're watching replay time, thank you for being here. And again, our guest, Dr. Velma Bagby, and we are talking about her book, My 70's. I always hold on with it, and it is My 70's Love Story, 50 plus years later.
yes,
And
ma'am.
that is that's a more than a milestone. But
Wow.
Dr. Velma, what would you say to those people as a takeaway? And then do tell us where we can meet you. Those who are thinking about being married. And I asked my husband, and you may have asked us before, do men think about getting married? I didn't know if they do.
Yeah,
I thought it was just a woman thing.
yeah.
He said, yeah,
No,
men think about it
yeah.
too.
My husband agreed. I found out, well, we'll talk a little later. I found out my husband interviewed just about everybody he saw around me on the campus, trying to
Mm,
find out as much as he could about me.
wow.
Yeah, he knew he wanted to get married, and the first time I met his mother, it opened my eyes to some things because she and I look very similar.
What?
Yes, we wore our hair. My hair, the length of my hair back then was very long. Hers was very long. I'm going, wow, I could see what he was looking for.
Wow.
Mhm. So
And
you
you,
have to understand that's what he wanted to do. And he had girls hanging around him all the time. I said, well, what was wrong with the girls that hung around you? I just assumed that he said that was the problem. Let me choose. Let me choose.
wow.
Come on,
Wow.
jean skirt. Hey, you can reach me on any of my platforms, Dr. Velma Bagby, and I have two podcasts. Feel free to subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you can stay up to date with some of the things I talk about because I do have Dr. Velma Talks, Godly Dating, Relationships, and Marriage. And so
Mm.
I'm all on all the social media platforms as Dr. Velma Bagby, and I look forward to hearing from you. And I can't wait for our next session, Miss Ellen, because you
I
always
can't either.
have the hot seat for me.
You, me, you. You have an amazing night, and thank you for as always for being here.
You too.
See you later. Bye bye.
Always looking beautiful, Miss Ellen. Take care.
Oh, you too. All right, you know to hit the X and out.
Uh-huh.
Thank you guys for being here again. Our guest, Doctor. Ooh, looked like when she got out the room, I got shorter. Thank you guys for being here again, Doctor. Velma Bagby. It's always a pleasure seeing her, and we talk about this marriage thing. And she's talking about her book is titled "My 70's Love Story," 50 plus years later. And guys, stay tuned. She'll be back these next two coming Tuesday. We'll go ahead and deep dive into chapter one and two. We're not going to give it all away. And for those who are looking for the Scout Out Shout Out, we have our August dates available. Go ahead on and look at those. There's some things that are going around. As again, always, I am Ellen Sutter of ESP Presents ESP Book Chats, where we bring page turners your way. Stay tuned for those who live in Newport News, Virginia, or 757 surrounding areas. We will have our second annual book fair. Be on the lookout for that. And you guys have an amazing night. Thank you for being here. And I'm signing off. Good night.